Hi guys, welcome back to episode 3, part 2. Yes, episode 3, part 2. My name is Ismail Sibisi, Gehamba Municipal Mkize.
Well, thank you, Sma. Welcome back, everyone. And I guess before we jump into part 2, part B of episode 3, where we shared boom the last time, I guess I just like us just to actually recap on what our journey has been thus far. I mean, in episode 1, you left us with go back to your inner child and sit in that space and understand and see where our traumas come from. And then we move from there. Episode 2 was about anger. I mean, we were talking about your teenage years, and we realized that you had a lot of anger. And I asked you the question, if we had to remove anger, what is underneath it? Because we are not just angry. There's so much more that comes underneath it. And then episode 3, in what has happened thus far, we realized that trauma doesn't just affect one area of your life or where you think you've identified it. Once you start this journey of just healing and walking, you realize that trauma has touched every single aspect of your life. And therefore, zonke lezo indawo need to be unpacked, as we had said, we need to unpack, repack if we need to repack, if we need to throw them away. So, I mean, okay, with that done, then you left us with, so you know, early 20s, kumnandi, photo shoots, you are living a life. We are pools, we are boshwa.
Yeah,
and then you got engaged.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess today we're speaking within that time of life,
yes,
and just into your late 20s of who Sma was, what was happening in life, and how you and your mother related within that time.
So, finally got engaged. So my 2012 was the year. It was the year for me, yeah. But also realized with part of 2012 being my year, trauma was still there. But now this was me trying to suppress trauma with you can't rule my life, you know. Earlier on the episodes, I did mention Butsi. It was a time where I filtered things out. Okay, I choose to focus on this, and then lens we share. So we catch up with me. So later 2012, yeah. So I met this guy in 2011. I think later 2011. Yeah, I met this guy. We used to stay in the same yard. And then 2012 December. I think we had gone for a movie, and Satsimas Buya, still in Mapunya Mall. As we were walking out of Mapunya Mall, we were eating ice cream. The next thing he says to me, please hold on to my ice cream. Bamba ice cream. How I hear people screaming. What's happening, dude? What are you doing? He was like, can you please be my wife? Blah blah blah. He was a cultural person from the Kosa nation. But yeah, he was a very cultural person, and so we got engaged, and then to my little message which says engaged, blah 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 blah. But Sahlwana before even, you know how my engagement in 2012 and how my engagement in 2019 happened was like totally different. The 2012 one, Sahlwana even before Bazofelikaya.
Yeah.
And that was like over a year. So we got engaged in 2012, we broke up in 2013. But in that space of 2012 and 2013,
okay.
Nothing was official, you know. And then the one in 2019, and then we're engaged after. So it was two different experiences. But yeah, so must go to engage and Putiza, so Smile have to wear Smile don't wear shorts, Smile don't wear leggings. Sina 21 old too. start up when it's no leggings, no shorts, no what anymore. And he was used to say, what if it's also we are young. Why are you? That was, I think, January 2013 until December 2013. It was my worst year in the relationship because it was now don't hang out with these people because abecorrect for wena. Also, uzusuka endlini emsebenzini usuka emsebenzini uze endlini. He was like a strict man now. So strict boy back then. He was like super strict that it was annoying. I remember the day I decided, but yeah, also he was now getting physical. When we started arguing, it was Gindota, Yabulomuzi, and you're going to respect me. And I think at that time, Smile was confused with, do I want to get married to this man and enjoy these episodes that takes place, or do I want to live my life and just leave this man? And now I think as a child that grew up without Itandola Lumzali, you get confused. Do you think this is the right way to go? Also because of trauma, you feel like, okay, maybe this is how relationships are supposed to work like, or maybe this is how marriage is supposed to look like. But also I had decided, no, I'm not going to be part of this. I know what I want, and it is not dressed up like this man. And I remember it was December, I think it was the 1st of December, there was an event at Zone 6 venue, and I was like, you know what? The theme is shorts and shades. Yo! Diapuma today. I said to him, I'm actually going to this event. And then he said, no, you can't go to this event. I'm like, I am going, I've already made my mind, I am going. Also, Besingapore me together. We wouldn't go out partying together, we wouldn't, unless we go out and eat the begin Sibling's work, because he's, I don't know if I should say, fashion designer / printer, but he was in the printing of clothes business. And then sometimes he would attend fashion events and I would go with him. But anything that's got to do with us and our age group, and what I remember also was, if we had to go out, if we decided that let's go out and then I'm paying, it was okay. But if we go out and then he has to pay, it was a problem. It was a waste of money. No, we can't waste money. We need to put money. Like, it was so weird because he looked like a grown man in a boy's body, you know. Or mhlambe angazi, but he was stingy. Yonke into bed ukuthi yena afake effort. Iba wrong. But everything that has to do with me putting on effort, putting on finances, it was right. So I went out that day. So I had started chatting with my friend prior to going out. I am no longer, I remember also telling my aunt, he's becoming physical, he's becoming strict, and I don't feel like this is the right thing to do, you know. And I remember my aunt asking me if Vicky or just in your relationship, where you fight a lot, more than you rejoice, then share. You can't have a relationship in a balance. If the other side is longer or bigger than the other side, she is. And then I had been talking to my friend who's actually, this is what's happening in a relationship. And then on the day when we're supposed to go out, he comes to work, to my workplace. He says in Zokuland. And I was like, oh, okay, he was gonna go back to my chats with my friend, screen grab those chats, send them to himself. And then hands me the phone and is like, okay, sharp, now as we were partying with my friend today, he started sending me these messages. And look at how you talk to your friend. And this is the reason why I had said do not hang out with these people, because look at how they respond to your texts. It was just so weird at age 21. Why are we having such conversations?
Yeah.
You know, why can't we just laugh? Why man so many boundaries on someone else's life? And he was on some because this is how they communicate with you. And then he started sending those messages to my friend. Kiabona, you've been poisoning my wife, and then it was a whole lot of drama. As we are busy dancing, we are going through these texts, and we were laughing with my friend. I'm like, you see why I want to leave? I think it was on the 5th of December, and sorry, we had a fight verbally, and it was just getting ugly. And then he said to me, uzokushiya wena la for December wonke ukuthi usanda usicabanga ukuthi ufunani uzobuya January. And yeah, I just want to, and I'm thinking to myself, if we are having fights when you decide ukuhamba uDecember wonke uyokusisi wakho mina ngisale ngizicabanga yingani singazicabanga so2 sihleli la kulo December wonke. And part of me said, you know what, thatha nayo ngiyakho uhambe uthi mangabe yenzeka ukuthi awusabuyi January ube ungashiyana lutho ngalo hamba. It's not like I'm not dumping you, I'm just saying thatha nawo umthwalo wakho ukuthi njengoba usuyozicabanga kusisi wakho. And I mean, you're saying to me ukuthi I'm not a wife enough for you and I'm disrespecting you. Ungasuzicabangela kusisi wakho wabona ukuthi angisabuyela esimangeni ungabisabuya thatha nayo ngiyakho. He was like, no, angilahli no. If you're gonna leave the entire December, might as well take your ring.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I had my first shoot, magazine shoot, the following day. I left. It was True Love magazine. When I came back, I had to must stand nilwele. And I'm like, and then went I kids we are also ham. It's ma leg I uzohamba phinda. This man left nama TV na yonke into na usuthile lo muntu usuthile sis. That's mangena women lezo. Literally there was just the wardrobe, the bed, the kitchen unit that I had bought.
Yeah.
He took everything. Ne teaspoon yam. Ne bedding yam. He took what is again the album. Yam, that was like a very sentimental item to me because it had pictures of including my dad, of which was the only picture that I had of him. What else put away? What else? I understand him. So I'm when a fridge. It was like a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it happened. And I think that was the biggest highlight between 2012 and 2013. How the engagement started and how it ended. It was horrible. And I think from that day I was like, no, and suddenly, nope, and easy. And what else happened during that year?
Before you actually jump to that,
Yes.
I do want to ask. You said in the beginning that you had put your trauma aside. You were just like, you're not going to ruin my life. You're not going to interrupt my life. I'm living my life. And now, all of a sudden, you find yourself in a relationship, which is the very thing, or which turned out to be the very thing which you had said, and I remember you talking about in your teenage years, that you were very clear about, if he does this, if he does this, if he does that, we are puma. But here you are, you say the moment you got engaged, and that whole year, washija, it just turned around. Why is Usma sitting for a whole year in a relationship which when she was 16 and that guy at 16 slapped her, you left immediately. And now you're in a space where you're engaged and he's treating you the way you know you don't want to be treated. But you stay for a whole year. Even to a point where when you tell him to go, you're not saying to him, sis again. You are saying to him, go figure yourself out and you let me know. Whereas Ma, being a teenager, was very clear
Strict.
and very strict on booty and sakfun. So, do you know why?
I think conversation that we had earlier on, we go into a relationship not realizing that we attract the things that we lack, and not having the love from the parents, both parents, getting that, even the smallest love that you get from outside, it's a huge thing to you because it's something that you're not used to, or it's something that you lack. And for me, when we got engaged, I was like, yo,
Yeah.
even if iza nalezinto lezi, for the fact ukuthi uyi-engage ngisho ukuthi uyangithanda. And I think mawukhula, you realize okay, my decisions that I did at 16 and the decisions that I'm going to take at 25 are no longer the same.
Yeah.
I think also with experience as well, you know. And I think at that time, trauma now had stripped out the feeling of love. And the feeling that I got from him was like, okay, uyangithanda lo muntu. But Miss isikhathi, I think nezinto maqala zenza, you realize it's actually leading me back to Usmangile at 16. It's actually giving me the same feeling Usmangile was feeling at 16. And it definitely doesn't feel right. But not having love from home or not having love from parents can make you fall in the wrong places.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and I think it takes you the consequences of those situations for you to realize it wasn't love. It was just me feeling like I am appreciated. And like I said, him engaging me felt like, okay, I am appreciated. And at age 21, life is turning out very great for me because, see how far. Until far was close. And I was like, no, this is not it. And I'm not going to go through it.
Thank you, Sma. I think a lot of us can actually see ourselves in that year that you had with that engagement. A lot of us can see ourselves in a space where when you haven't understood love, and not necessarily not truly understood it, but how you deserve to be loved, haven't understood just how worthy and deserving you are of being taken care of, being loved. And then if it doesn't come from parents, you find yourself in tricky situations. And I'm thankful that it turned out the way it turned out, and you didn't continue in that relationship. So now, that being one of the highlights of your 20s, I then want to ask, where is Uma in this space, in your 20s? How is your relationship with your mom, even to you? Because you said you had put trauma aside, it's not going to get in my way. But clearly it's still showing up in spaces where you're not realizing it. So, yeah, where's mom? How's your relationship? What's going on?
So, Uma, in the midst of my 20s, she's still there. I think at age 25, basically with the long-term boyfriend, 20 years. Lo ayebemshaya. And I didn't understand why benga-nshini. And she was still there. Until one time I went to her, ngambuza, and she told me, sehlukene mina nomuntu kanje and sengisile. And she looked different, I think she looked like she was getting herself together. Or she had realized ukuthi she deserves better. But she was still staying there in Roodeport, the squatter camp. And me deciding it's okay, because you don't want to leave this place, it's fine. So and do the right. And she was excited. She was excited. I think she felt loved. She looked like she felt loved. And it was the smallest things that I used to do for her that I would catch a glimpse of her smiling, and it made me feel better because in my entire life, nginaye, angikhumbuli anyone doing anything for her, even the boyfriend that she had, angikhumbuli. So I had taken to myself, you know what, I'm going to start doing things for you. And if this is how it repairs me inside, it's fine, let's do it. And yeah, Mr. Singy, little baby girl, sister one, but she was still drinking, and she was still not a person that would want to visit home. Beza kanye, kautu, kunyaga, and then that's it. And then my brother was still there, but still there was no relationship between the three of us. And what's why, guys, but yeah, there was still no relationship between the three of us. And then I think he made Vashela cool more than my brother. And yeah, Smile event began as a 70 abantu. Smile in 2016 decided, you know what, I'm gonna quit my job and start my own business. One thing that trauma does, I said in the last episode, it grows you quicker than anyone else. And when it comes to family and finances, Smile made a choice or made a promise to herself. Once I start working, I'm going to take care of home. And when I opened my business, I don't know what happened. And I told my boss, it's actually, I'm quitting today. And I'm no longer coming back. I had no budget on site. I had no plan with what was going to happen. All I knew is my talent will take me places. And I opened my first salon. And yeah, I think Smangele was like strict. Smangele was focused. Smangele knew what she wanted to do, and ukuthi izofuna ukuthi ngilale ngo-12 uvuke ngo-2 nganganendaba. I was like focused and like, if this is going to take me from one point to another, therefore let me do it. And it happened. The business boomed, and now I could afford things at the time I wanted to, and I could do things for Gogo, but still I wanted to do things for Ma. Gangi's yenza, kube ngathi ngiyazitshontsha ngithi okay, ngizomthengela i-course, I would ngithenge i-course mina. Mangithengela ugogo i-course ngangingamind ugogo 10 courses zokulasta 3 months, it's fine.
Yeah.
But for Ma ngangizitshontsha. Feel right for me to do it. As much as I would want to do it, remember this woman was never there for you. So therefore, whatever you do for her, it was that feeling, I can do it, but I don't owe you, the things that I'm doing for you. And at that point, I wasn't realizing what it was me, it was the anger coming out, or it was me reacting towards all the times that we were never together. But now but for me, one, I didn't like where she was staying. I've never approved of her lifestyles. So now that I was able to do things for myself, it felt like, sisters, go back very old, so I don't need you now. But that suitcase was forever there with me. She was that suitcase that I just refused to let go. Yeah. And I think purposely, God probably was saying, she is part of you, and she needs you. At that time, I didn't realize what she needed me, because she never had anyone to talk to. She never had anyone to do all those things. She never had anyone also said to me, it was always me. And yeah, that's how as I enter my late 20s, Usma was there. Usma was,
my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yes. And I think at that time, God was just saying, you know, when you want to leave or when you want to close a chapter, but you feeling that page that just refuses to close. The page
Yeah.
I felt like Ma was a project that I needed to work on.
Okay.
And even though no, you're not my project. But something kept pushing me back. You need to be there for her.
Yeah.
You know. Even though, like I said, I was doing it, but you don't deserve what I'm doing to you because you were never there for me.
Yeah.
But even though, regardless, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know. And my brother was still there, still no relationship. I don't know how, even today we don't have a relationship, but I don't know how, every time I try ask myself, how is it possible that siblings don't have a relationship? You know, and it's been a long time, since 2012.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, but still, ayikho.
Okay.
Naye, usafana no mama, and you say project uma, because he would call me jelly and for his money. I'm like, okay. But still, no attachments, none whatsoever. I feel like we distant brother or what, but I'm not connection.
That's a tough one. And I guess the question I have then for you is, being Usma, who's here now today, who is on a journey of healing and understanding how things are connected and why I reacted this way, oh, it's got a foundation, which is why. So you use the word project. And I think one of the things that we were speaking about is this concept of as women we need to understand as Bona or Bob the Builder.
Yes.
So, and you get to that point in the relationships that you get in where you realize that you are not Bob the Builder, you're not here to build a man.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you're not here to build anyone.
Anyway.
You are no one's savior at the end of the day. We are all on our own journeys at the end of the day. So you've just also now called your brother a project. Being where you are right now, what does that mean? Ukuthi umuntu uyi project. And you said that there were barriers, ukuthi, because you didn't think Uma deserved anything from you because so there were barriers to you wanting to take care of Uma or even give her anything, but you still saw her as a project. So being where you are right now that Uma agaseko, but you still have your brother and you're still feeling that same way, what does that mean? What does Umunduwi project mean?
For me, Umunduwi project means la kungana relationship khona. You know when you do things, kukhona izinto mawuzenza umuntu zivele ziphume naturally, and you do for them, and kukhona okwenzakalayo ngaphakathi kwena, you feel relieved, or it's kuba ngathi uyazikhokhela wena ukuthi I feel actually great by doing this for the next person. So khona omunye abantu othi uma ubenza izinto ufile ngathi bayi-burden to you.
Yeah.
And there are no emotions attached to anything. So that's how I feel about my brother. We don't have a relationship. Unayo babaki. And at some point I feel like ingane ngayo babaki ufuna zonke lezi zinto lezi wayezifuna kumina. And I don't know yini that prevents the connection. But yonke into iqhelelene. Even me doing things to him, I feel like I'm not supposed to be doing this for you. Kodwa ngiyakwenzela. And I don't know why, but that's how I feel.
Okay.
And for Uma and I think there was anger into it. You've never done anything for me. Why am I supposed to do things for you? You know. And now that I think about it, okay, she had her own decisions to take about her life. And probably, why is that? Because if you're not be exposed to a lifestyle like, you know, not her realizing when she was doing that, there was resentment from me. Ben feeling that okay, you don't want to be part of my life, so therefore now I can be part of your life. But again, unfortunately, as we grow up, we go back to our decisions. So it's okay. I don't want you to be part of my life. I went back and I realized it's impossible to not have her as part of my life. And me making a decision to okay, now I'm gonna start taking care of you, and it's okay. I think there was a point in life where I decided, okay, now I'm gonna start taking care of you, and then the feelings towards her started changing. I think I had sat in those emotions of hating her, of being angry at her, of feeling different about her. I had sat in those emotions and I had allowed those emotions to take place. Now I was at a better space. Now I was understanding, okay, now I'm going to start taking care of you.
Okay.
And it started feeling better. Started feeling like I could take her to a spa treatment and be like, let's chill and have a spa treatment. You know? And I think it was the last 3 years of our life actually, when things had started changing. We would go for shopping together. Qala ngangithi makathi sihambe sofuna izinto sasifika sithenga izinto sibuye ngemshiya. But now things were different. We would go shopping. After shopping, we would go to eat and chill and talk about the previous boyfriends that she had. You know, I think now this is and one band, and all these scenarios that would happen when I wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know? And it was better. It felt so much better, and I think those emotions that I had towards her now were lifted, and it felt lighter, very lighter.
And I guess that's where I wanted to actually get to, is that you came to a point you had to make a decision of actually I want this relationship to be different. But in that it meant I need to sit in these uncomfortable emotions, in this anger, in this anything that you had towards her, which was that barrier.
Yes.
And then once you had sat in that, then you're able to move through and past it, to then start having a relationship with her. I guess then my challenge to you then is, and I think it's the word we used last week about being intentional. It's making that decision and being intentional that this is what I'm going to do over and over again.
Yes.
And the challenge then I have for you then is with ubhuti wakho, that you say still kusala disconnect. Have you had the conversation with yourself who would say I actually want to have a relationship with him? I actually want to connect with my brother.
Sure.
And then so following the exact same pattern that you did with Uma, with your brother.
I think what hurts me the most about the relationship with the brother is I feel totally different about him. And as you Kubangathi, I don't want this relationship to happen. I don't know. Or ukuthi mhlambe ngikhule I could say ngikhule ngifila ngathi I was the only child kuma. I think it's because we were raised up by 2 different families. So there was no connection at all. And how do you start a relationship now at this age? I think some people feel different. My long lost brother, and then we start a relationship. For me, ayiko too. I don't know, ayiko. I don't know if it's because I never had a relationship with Uma and Baba myself, and I feel like naye uzokhona survive on his own with his mom not there and his father probably not there. That's how I feel. I feel like if I managed to survive being on my own without the parents, mhlambe naye angasurvive. I think part of it is me feeling guilty. Why is he supposed to have someone look out for him if I didn't have someone look out for me?
Okay.
It's that I feel like I'm resenting him because I was resented. So why is he supposed to have a different life?
Okay.
You know? I think that's how I feel.
Okay.
Why is he supposed to have it all and have someone look out for him if I didn't have anyone? That's how I feel.
Are you ready to sit in that space?
Not with the grieving and the breakup and still trying to pick myself up from business. No. Nope. It's not anything. It's not the projects that I want to take on. I'm still working on everything else that's happening right now. So, yeah.
Can I throw one last bomb into the space?
Okay.
You've just said, I asked you the question, are you ready to sit in that space and work through what you have towards your brother? And you said no. Not because I've got the grieving, I've got the business, I've got the breakup, and I'm still trying to work through that. My last bomb to you and the challenge to you is be aware of not using the grieving, the business, and the breakup as a barrier to not, so angabi an excuse to not step into that space with your brother. If you're not ready, you're not ready, and that's okay. And I think that's the thing we need to understand, even about this healing journey, is that sometimes we're going to hit big things like this. And if I'm not ready, I'm not ready. Don't push yourself because I'm on this healing journey now, I need to fix everything. Because it can end up breaking you more than it actually is there to build you. But also be honest with yourself that I truly am not ready.
Yeah.
And not I'm making other excuses to not attack it and not get into that space. But only you know that. I can't tell you that. Only you know. And you're having those conversations with yourself, and you're writing, like you said, you started pouring your heart out onto your pages. So write it down, pour it out, and then when you're ready, step into it. So we've said a lot today, as always, and I think it's a lot because our lives are beautiful. Yes. Our lives are complicated yet simple, and I think that's the beauty of it all, is that we are not one-dimensional. We are not even 3D or 4D.
Yeah.
We are beyond that. And I think it's a beautiful thing when we step into these journeys and understand all the things that make us who we are. Then we can finally start to decide who we decide to be. All of that. And I guess, last week, you left us with the challenge of trauma doesn't just touch one area of our lives. It touches many areas of our lives. And don't be afraid and don't be shocked when those things come up and you realize actually there's another suitcase that I need to open and deal with. So just the conversation we've had today, Isma, what is it that you want us to walk away with, think on, unpack in the meantime until we chat again next time?
That trauma will make even the smallest things to feel like they're the biggest things you've ever had in your life.
Okay.
I found love at 21 and I thought it was the love because of the lack of love that I needed from my parents.
Yeah.
And even if it came with those baggages, those physical fights, those almost, physical fights, for me it felt like for the fact that he engaged me, meaning he loved me, but he didn't love me. Probably he was securing me because he could see what type of person I was. And I think one thing that I've seen in Gam is when I love a person, and sometimes trauma does that. I think trauma did that to me. To a point of which even if the love comes with ngizobambelela to that smallest ukuthi uyangithanda and just trying to forget about the things that comes with that relationship. And from these conversations that we had today, I want us to really look at how the patterns of relationships that we have as a person that have went through trauma. Sometimes we hold on to the smallest things. In 6 months, and you're going to hold on to that because something that I'm not used to, something that is foreign, and you think and that's not how you're supposed to be loved. And I think it takes years for you to actually realize this is how I want to be loved, and this is how love feels. But also you only realize also so on those emotions of trauma. And am I only holding on to things that are missing in my life that makes it look like Gatsandra, or is it just this is not how I'm supposed to be loved?
Okay.
and also trauma who make you feel like people don't deserve the beautiful things that you have or things that you give back to them
Yeah.
because of ngathi there was a time where the wrong was told. So now that with space where you're able to give yourself those things, awufuni uzishare nomuntu. I mean, me feeling as if I want to do things for you, but I don't have to do those things for you because now you were never there for me. You know, and now having to sit in those emotions and then changing how I feel towards her. It's actually, you know what, she had her own choices.
Okay.
And with those choices, mina ngangifila kanje towards the choices that she did, but yena probably she felt different.
Okay.
You know, and then sitting in those emotions and trying to find a solution towards them. And that was me now starting to think, okay, now actually we can go out and have a date in you. Actually we can go buy your groceries, go eat, and then come back and full sit in your place, you know. I think there was a point where and would have talks with her friends, and then we start laughing, and they would start sharing their own memories in Ghana, and it felt great. You know, I felt love at that point. But before that, no. And yeah, I think what I want us to take out of this is the importance of sitting in the emotions and allowing yourself to go through the emotions and then passing over to the other side. Because sometimes you jump to the other side. And then you must go back and deal with those emotions. I think just allow yourself to sit in that trauma. So first it was identify where trauma is, suppressing trauma, going through trauma. Now it was sitting in the emotions of trauma and understanding those things happened. And probably these are the reasons why they happen. And sometimes when you sit in those emotions, I will be to actually help you once you step out of those emotions. And sometimes you are the only person that you're there for yourself. And it's okay. It's okay. I mean, the most important part is finding yourself after sitting in those emotions. Are you still the same person that you were before? Or you have progressed to seeing things differently? And I think what's important is progressing. And also there's no time frame as to how much you sit in those emotions. If it takes you 6 months to get through grieving, or 12 months, or it's okay. Just sit there, go through it, and allow it to take over so that you understand better of that situation when it happened. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. And like we've always said in the last couple of episodes, we know these conversations are triggering. We know these conversations are still in our anyway. Some of us didn't even realize we had spaces that needed healing in. We really hope that these conversations bring those things to light, not to attack you, but to really help you grow at the end of the day. And as we've said on our pages, we do have the numbers of just psychologists, because one of the things that we will chat about is when we get help, because we do need help at the
How
end of
do
the
you
day.
spot that you need help?
How do you spot you need help, and where do you go find it? So we do have those numbers up on our pages. We have numbers of crisis centers also for you to reach out and actually find someone who can help you take this journey from a clinical aspect.
And don't forget, these are based on a personal experience. And this is me sharing my journey with you guys. Just hoping the next person realizes that they're no longer alone in their own journey, and that they're not crazy to feel like they need help, and they should get help. So thank you guys. We will see you on the next episode as we unpack more about my healing journey.